Solving the heart's puzzle. The world outside was painted in the muted grays of a chilly Saturday morning, but inside the house, the air was thick with the scent of lavender and brewed tea. For Gülsen and Levent, Saturdays weren't for sleeping in. They were for the slow, rhythmic dance of care that defined their lives. Their daughter, Fatima, sat in her wheelchair by the window, her eyes reflecting the soft morning light. At 24, she navigated a world without words, her silence a canvas upon which her parents painted their devotion. In the kitchen, Levent moved with practiced precision. This was the first piece of the daily puzzle, the chemistry of comfort. He carefully measured out the morning medication, his hands steady despite the early hour. Beside the colorful pill organizer sat a warm mug of milk, just the way Fatima liked it. He hummed a low tune, a signal of his presence that he knew brought her a sense of safety. Upstairs, the morning routine continued with a gentle touch. Gülsen knelt beside Fatima, carefully choosing a soft sweater to keep the autumn chill at bay. As she brushed Fatima's dark hair, each stroke was a silent conversation. There was no rush here. The slow start was a necessity, a way to honor Fatima's pace and ensure her body felt ready for the day ahead. Fatima was still finding her strength after a difficult bout of bronchitis. The rattle in her chest had finally faded, but her energy remained low. She spent the morning nestled in her room, the soft hum of a heater providing a backdrop to her rest. Figaro, the family's gray tabby cat, seemed to sense her fatigue, curling himself into a silver crescent at the foot of her wheelchair. To pass the time, Fatima reached for her favorite electronic toy. It was a kaleidoscope of primary colors that chirped and sang at the lightest touch. She pressed the buttons with deliberate effort, her face lit by the glowing LEDs. For Fatima, these sounds were a bridge to the world, a way to exert her will and fill the room with a melody of her own making. But as the afternoon shadows began to stretch across the floor, the melody changed. Without warning, the soft chirping of the toy was replaced by the sound of Fatima's sobbing. It wasn't a cry of hunger or a cry of pain they recognized. It was a deep, sudden well of sadness that overflowed. Tears tracked down her cheeks, and her breath came in jagged hitches. Levent and Gülsen reached her room at the same moment, their hearts synchronized in a familiar beat of alarm. They didn't see a burden or a tragedy. They saw a beautiful, complex puzzle that needed their combined wisdom to solve. They knelt on either side of her, offering their hands and their quiet voices as anchors in her sudden emotional storm. "What is it, my flower?" Levent whispered, his mind racing through the possibilities. He began to mentally catalog the day, the food, the fluids, the sleep. Then, his eyes fell upon the medicine cabinet. He remembered the prednisone, the steroid prescribed to help her lungs recover from the bronchitis. He knew that for some, this medicine brought a side effect of emotional lability, sudden, unexplained waves of grief. Understanding was the key that turned the lock. Gülsen pulled Fatima into a long, steady embrace, tucking her daughter's head beneath her chin. "It's the medicine, Fatima," she murmured, even though she knew the words might not be fully processed. "It's okay to be sad. We are right here." They adjusted her position, dimmed the lights, and simply stayed, providing the human warmth that no prescription could offer. Slowly, the storm subsided. The puzzle of the afternoon had been solved not with a miracle, but with observation, patience, and an unbreakable bond. As evening fell, Figaro returned to his post, and a tired but peaceful smile touched Fatima's lips. In this house, love wasn't just a feeling. It was the dedicated work of two parents who knew that every piece of their daughter's life was worth the effort to understand.